time to get real. I want to see some crazy whiz-biz.
What's the magic made out of, ding-dong?
I want to see some of that whiz-biz.
This castle is in unacceptable condition! Unacceptable! Mathematical!
You teleport back.
Bacon pancake!
Hi, Eric.
Hi, Alex.
Do you know what I hate?
What do you hate?
Ice cream sandwiches. That's right. We watched episode whatever, James.
Welcome back to WizBiz with Alex and Eric, where we talk about Adventure Time. Sorry, yeah. What were you gonna say?
Oh, just my podcast app. I have like a random setting that I found, and it was playing an old episode of ours. Not that old, but it was. But you were lamenting that we don't have a fun way to start the episode like we do on John and Alexx Hate Stuff, where the hey, what do I hate thing. And I was like, ooh, we could do it for this episode just for the fuck of it.
I got my Spotify Wrapped today.
Oh yes. The person I hang out with a lot. We'll leave that there. Has been throwing that at me all the last 2 days.
And so they have one of the things is the podcasts you listen to the most on Spotify. So I don't use Spotify to listen to podcasts very often, but John and Alexx Hate Stuff was on my list, on my top 5.
Yeah. Good job. Good choice. We're all proud of you.
Thanks.
Back at the home office.
And I would like to say, I've been the honored guest on John and Alexx Hate Stuff a couple of times, mostly when we talk about Dune.
Yes.
And then also, I think it's just been Dune, right? I don't remember if there's another one. Yeah. And so we talked about this. I don't remember if we mentioned it on the show, but there's that new Dune TV show, and I have been watching it.
Oh yeah, I was going to follow up with that. I nearly watched an episode last night. But oh man, this is so hard to dodge. The person I was with didn't like it either, so we didn't watch it because that opening scene was, in the past, there was 5 minutes of exposition in a Lord of the Rings voice. Please listen to this 5 minutes of exposition. And we're all like, dude, this fucking sucks, right?
It's not as bad as I was fearing it would be. It's definitely better than the Rings of Power TV show.
Well, it's hard to be worse. Yeah, facts. Yeah.
I know, but I feel like it's got an okayness to it. It kind of sucks that each episode is like over an hour, but
is that true? We literally didn't get through the first minute because it just that opening it was just such a. We're now establishing the world instead of showing it. It's like, oh boy, this is fuck. I'm an Atreides, but now Jill Harkonnen will move up. It's like, oh Jesus, fuck. All right, fucking tone it down.
There are some weird things like the two main Bene Gesserit. The two main Bene Gesserit are both Harkonnens.
Yeah.
And there's and then the dude from Vikings, the main actor from Vikings, I can't remember his name, but Travis something. He
Travis Flimmel or something like that. Yeah.
He plays some dude who apparently got swallowed by a sandworm and came out alive somehow.
Oh yeah. That's in the later books. Yeah.
Is it? That's in one of the. So
no, you know what? It might be in one of the shitty his sons wrote it books.
I was thinking that they might be basing this on some of the Brian Herbert books. Is that
the guy getting swallowed by a sandworm is in. I think it's in one of the Brian Herbert books because I slogged through a few of those, just listening to the audiobook just to kind of
see what was happening.
Yeah, I just because the first one I listened to it's so far away from being good. Let's wipe the table clean. Far from being good, but it was kind of okay. We're just whatever. You're but and then it just started being all member berries. And this is how the Spencer lamps were invented, and this is how everything that you've ever heard of from it's just over explaining fucking everything. And then because I'm just pot committed, so I listened to 3 of them, and they're dog shit.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in this where it's this is how the voice was invented. One of the main characters somehow discovers the voice or whatever. It's sort of okay, we didn't need to see that.
Yeah. On my sorry, if you had more on Dune, let's
No. I guess my prognosis, my diagnosis is that it's not going to kill anybody if they watch it, but there are probably better things to watch.
Yes. Facts. I've been watching, and I forget if I talked about this last episode, but we've been watching Our Flag Means Death, which is like one of my favorite shows that I've watched
Oh
recently.
yeah.
Big fan.
I've watched a little bit of that. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
It's great.
So,
Just gay pirates being wholesome. Good times.
So, I know that there's all this stuff that you aren't allowing yourself to talk about right now. But aside from all that, how's life?
I mean, that's
How are
hard
you doing?
Okay, in the least specific way possible. I've now been hanging out with someone consistently. So in order to talk about my life the past 2 months, I'm not going to reference that person's name, that person's pronouns, nothing specific. However, there is a human in my life, and I don't know how to answer things without that because all of the things revolve around that person. So I'm fine, I guess. Shrug, question mark. I don't fucking know. This is weird for me.
All right. Okay, yeah, I mean, I just remember one of the things you told me when we first met and we were talking about podcasting. You said that eventually you come to a point where you overshare on your podcast.
Yes.
So, it'll be fun for people to watch how this develops to see if the oversharing starts to happen.
That's a good point. Fuck it. Let's do this. This is
Okay.
Because we actually, here's the thing. Because I am a warts and all podcaster, but also I realize both the episodes we have to talk about have very little to do with it. I will fucking share with the audience. I can say
Okay.
I can say some things that will be fun. So for the past and I've joked around about it on other shows, but I'll admit it. In the past few years in my life, I've been asexual. I mean, like, own it, want to own a black ring, like asexual, own the identity. I recently started hanging out with a trans mask person, and we have gotten to be quite together the past 2-3 months. So I went from a straight asexual to guess low key I'm a gay guy now. So it's been a whole transitive thing, but it's been like a kind of all consuming. Lots of my time is going that way. So it's hard for me to do the dodging thing of how do I talk about this person without saying he, without saying they, without referencing the constant time together? I don't know. So there you go, audience. Enjoy. All 3 of you that listen to the show, have at it.
Are you guys cooking food together?
We have
Are you
cooked food
watching
together
a lot
multiple times. Yeah.
Nice, excellent. And how has the food been?
Good. We're both decent cooks.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. No. So that is all the details I'm willing to give because everything else would
This
be
time, so far,
doxing.
you mean.
But yes, it only mostly because again, warts and all, too real hard to talk about my life without this being involved because it's here's the thing I've been doing. Our Flag Means Death, watching with him, playing Disco Elysium, which is an incredible game, and I recommend to you, Eric, so fucking hard.
Disco Elysium.
It's
I've
basically
heard of this one. Oh yeah, I've heard of this game. It looks cool.
It's essentially you wake up. It's not to give too much away, but essentially you wake up as a complete fucking Bukowski train wreck, and the game's about communism, and there's no game. It's just dialogue trees, and you either decide if you're going to go full Bukowski or become a socialist, and it's fucking amazing, and it's the way they trick you. It's I think there's over 1 million words of dialogue in the game, but that's I play that with the person I've been hanging out with, so there's a whole thing. All right,
cool.
So
you
how
could
have
give
you
him
been?
I feel like the person should get a code name.
Oh yeah. Should we give him a code name?
Yeah.
Wait, why don't you pick one? Because I don't know how to do that without giving a hint.
I'm going to call.
Oh no, I got it. Wait, no,
them-
wait.
Oh, I already had a good one.
Oh no, give me one. Give me one.
I was just gonna call him Agent Green because you're in front of a green screen, and I was like, "There we go, Agent Green."
Huh. Okay, I'm into it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna pitch Kim Kitsurabi, because that's
Kim
the name.
Kitsurabi.
I think it's Kitsuragi. I keep fucking up the last syllable.
Who are you talking about?
It's one of the guys from Kitsuragi. It's one of the guys from
From
Disco
the game you
Elysium.
just-
Yeah.
Okay. So anyhow, let's talk a little bit about Adventure Time.
Yeah. Let's never bring this up again.
until our first segment.
No, I'm
is
good. Yeah.
called-
Oh Jesus! You know what? Actually, weirdly, both of my words involve this. All right. Yeah.
Hey,
so,
we'll get there. Okay.
yeah, we won't.
So
We're done.
This episode, we're going to talk about episode 42, or season 5, episode 42, James, and season 5, episode 45, A Blade of Grass. But I did also watch the in-between episodes, Root Beer Guy and Apple Wedding, and I'll talk about those.
I watched a Root Beer Guy. We didn't watch Apple Wedding. This is a different way. My new apartment. I'm 2 doors down from somebody I went to high school with that I've been friends with
Oh,
for like
cool.
20 something years. So I'm trying to like make more time to like hang out with them. Like,
So you're making like more friends.
no, I mean literally, like I've known them since 1996.
I mean, you're doing socializing.
I'm
This is cool.
trying, only because I don't know what to do with my life, and I've heard that that's what you do. Like me being like a meep. I'm piloting my robot suit. This is like the other people tell me that's what you do with your life, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, it is actually what you're supposed to do. I think it's definitely part of
Oh,
it.
and this doesn't work for like a show that like has our website doesn't have like pictures involved. But look, I got a tattoo, Eric.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sweet. Yeah, you
Yeah.
sent me a picture of that. That's cool.
Oh, did
I'm so
I?
glad
Okay,
you got
well
it.
then
Yeah.
this wasn't a big reveal. Yeah.
You're one of the inked now.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about this terrible. I like, man. I enjoyed both the episodes on a. If I was on a 5-episode binge, I'd be like, oh, I'm glad I watched that one. But like, this is.
There's not a lot, but I do. So episode 42, James does have some stuff that we should talk about.
Please.
I mean, I really enjoyed the way that it kind of opened with Finn and Jake obviously having a very difficult time. You know, like stuff was going bad, et cetera, et cetera. And then so throughout the story, you know, we learned that PB took them to this huge crater pit in the middle of the desert to, I don't know, she wants to expand the kingdom and start colonizing it or whatever. But it's filled with those goo zombies from that we first saw in Simon and Marcy.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. It was a
cool, and referenced in
callback.
when we meet Finn's past life person, or I already forgot their name.
That's right. Shoku?
Yeah, Shoko or something like that. Yeah.
Shoko.
Yeah.
And James is just a useless ice cream sandwich. Like he's really not very useful. He
looks kind of tasty though.
He does. And he makes sound effects for everything he does, which would annoy the hell out of me. Like I would have not wanted to hang out with James very much.
Yeah. I feel like I would like to see James hang out with one of my friends and then like kind of like enjoy it in like a Schadenfreude way, but no, it seems an irritating person to be around. Very nice though.
Yeah. So the first thing that really struck me about this episode while I was watching it is the vehicle that they travel down there in is a tripod walker.
Yeah.
And so I immediately thought of War of the Worlds.
That's what I thought of too. Yeah.
Yeah. But there was no death ray, but still like a tripod walker. So there was that War of the Worlds movie with Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Or whatever. Did you
Tom
watch
Cruise.
that?
Yeah.
How did the tripod walkers? I mean, how does a tripod walker walk? Like with only 3 legs, I just feel like there's got to be an awkwardness to that sort of thing. Like, how do you manage to not just tip over? How do you manage to have any sort of stability in the cockpit?
I feel like they're more made for like, kind of battening down and like kind of standing there, like kind of tank build,
like a tripod.
Yeah, but like so their walking isn't like the main thing. That's like we're not selling these tripods to be like, look how mobile and fleet of foot they are. We're selling it like we got 3 points of fucking on the ground. Try to knock this fucker over. I dare you. Now if you sneeze near it, fucked. But try to knock it over physically, ain't gonna happen.
I mean, the thing is, like, you've used tripods before. They are notoriously easy to knock. Fuck.
I don't know if you got that. I was referring to having a huge dong.
Oh, really? Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah. I was talking about the tripod nature of my genitalia. Yeah.
But I mean, tripods are really easy to knock over. Like, you could accidentally knock them over quite easily.
But harder to knock over than, let's say, like a G.I. Joe figure, which it's a bipod.
That's true. And we see lots of bipod robots in cartoons.
Yeah. And you can knock those asses over all the time. I mean, frankly, I think I doubt the smartness of any alien planet, any species that shows up to a planet and doesn't like account for germs. Or like the fucking M. Night movie where like aliens show up to like fucking blue marble and they're like, oh yeah, fuck, we're allergic to water. You idiot.
That movie, I just, it's funny. Like I hear people say that they really liked that movie, and I'm like, I can't even imagine how those aliens ever expected. Like,
It's
oh yeah, I'm
baffling.
gonna go live here and try to fight off. I mean, we are basically like the xenomorphs to them, right? Our blood is poisonous.
Yeah,
to them.
facts. Yeah.
The entire world is poisonous to them. Like the amount of water vapor in the air, the fact that it rains all the time. Like there is nothing about this planet that would be remotely worth conquering for a species that is killed by water and so allergic to water. Like it doesn't make any sense.
It's very stupid. So much to the point. Let's talk about the episode James.
Okay. All right. So again, like there isn't a whole lot in this episode. You know,
exactly.
It is sort of tropish. You know, they're trapped inside the ruined walker. The monsters are going to get in 6 minutes and 45 seconds. And in
there's
the
a weird
end,
lucky coin runner, which although
there
I
is a lucky
followed,
coin.
it feels like there should have been more to that. Like it's just an odd little like detail piece.
It's a MacGuffin.
Yeah, but like I never bought into it. Like it just kind of like obviously this is some dumbass with a coin. Like there's no.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really a lucky coin. You know,
Yeah.
James is useless. It's. So here's one of the things that's really interesting about this episode. It's revealed by the end of the episode that Princess Bubblegum was the one sabotaging everything in an attempt to maneuver the group into realizing that one of them had to sacrifice themselves for everybody else to escape.
Yeah.
Which is dark, right? Like that's a very dark thing to do. She plays with Finn's emotions enormously, and it is definitely one of those like sociopathic Princess Bubblegum things. And you know, you do get that little hint, like PB takes a corner of James, like breaks off a corner of James and takes it with her. And
There's a fun. Sorry.
Oh, no. You please.
Oh, just no, like a side point, because so I was thinking when you're talking about that, my first thought was Spock and Kirk in the radiation center and being like the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one, and then do the thing. But
yeah,
Star Trek in my mind, I love that James was wearing the red suit, like the Star Trek, the original series red suit. It is so reminiscent. It's really funny. He's like, oh yeah, I think we know where this episode is heading. Like I think we know where this goes.
I mean, those goo zombies are pretty terrifying, I gotta say.
Yeah. No, they're quite gross.
So back at the Bubblegum Kingdom, Princess Bubblegum clones James, and she's like, "It's okay, like we just made a new one." But I mean, the thing is, yeah, and Finn and Jake like rightly question it. They're like, "Is this right? Is this okay? Like, James, that can't be James. You know, it's not like." It's not like it's got James's memories, or there's no continuity of James. There's just continuity of Candy. Like it was an evil act in a way.
I got you. I was just trying to make a pun off of the ship
problem.
of Theseus, but with the word some kind of candy, and I couldn't come up with it.
Maybe in a way it's like a trolley problem, right? Like
oh no, got it. Wait, Chips Ahoy of Theseus. That's not bad.
You got it.
That's not bad.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's yeah. I'm desperate to try to talk about something in this episode, but it's there's nothing here. It's just a funny episode, and it's not even that funny. PB is
it ends on a like a really strange moral note where you're sort of faced again with like another weird Princess Bubblegum ethics issue. But there is kind of a thing at the end where Jake gives the coin to the new James clone, which is almost sort of nice.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, there's a cliffhanger because James has been turned into a goo zombie, and he and all the other goo zombies are climbing out and marching across the desert.
Yeah, I did enjoy the end. And you know, honestly, like if I didn't have to talk about it on a podcast, this would be a solid C+. Like it's fine. It's just an episode of Adventure Time. Nothing wrong with it. But unfortunately, we've decided to talk about episodes, and we had to talk about this one because James is a recurring character, at least in some way. So we're kind of like obligated.
There's a sequel to this episode.
Yes. So we're obligated by the rules of the show to talk about it. It's unfortunate because like there's not a lot to do here. Yeah.
Right, right. Well, I mean, and so yeah. Anyhow, so that's the episode, and then so you did watch Root Beer Guy, so we could talk about Root Beer Guy too.
Yes.
Okay.
To be fair, I was more talking to my friend that was over the house. But
Okay, well that's cool.
beer.
And this wasn't Agent Green. This was your other friend.
No, this was not Kim Kitsuragi. This is my friend Lillian, who I grew up with in New Jersey and lives 2 doors down from me. I can say Lillian's name because I'm not trying to hide anything. Oh, you know what I like? Actually, Lillian and I were talking about this, like in the Root Beer Guy episode. I love how much direct sexual innuendo is in this episode that like they got away with at a kid show. It's like old school Bugs Bunny style.
So Cherry Cream Soda, which is Root Beer Guy's wife, is played by Anne Hesh.
Oh, is that true? I was wondering. I thought it was somebody famous. I didn't look it up though.
But, there's that thing at the beginning where, Root Beer Guy is so obsessed with his writing that he's not giving her the attention she needs.
Yeah.
And then at some point, like, he comes home and she's dressed in a French maid outfit. It's like,
because she says, I'm just like any other cherry Coke. I need all the cherry Coke. Like, she basically says, I need to get fucked. And then later she's in a French maid outfit. It is so like, for this level of show, it's
so
direct.
over the top.
Yeah.
I liked this episode a lot. I liked the Root Beer Guy episode a lot, maybe more than the James episode. Maybe it should have been the one that we spent more time on.
For real, I did too. Because here's the thing: Root Beer Guy shows up, I think, probably more than James does in later in the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, Root Beer Guy. I mean, I don't remember the whole story of Root Beer Guy, but at some point he like gets killed and brought back to life, and he's like a dirt guy.
He's dirt beer guy. I think. I think Peppermint Butler brings him back to life after being buried.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it's another film noir episode, so it's like BMO noir, but they do the voiceover thing, but they don't shoot it. It's not in black and white, but they do have sort of like camera angles that are very evocative of like Orson Welles and stuff, which I really like.
Yeah, you're saying it's like Unicron from the movie Transformers the movie.
Yeah, I just watched A Touch of Evil, which is
oh really?
Wow,
I haven't seen Touch of Evil in fucking forever. Yeah.
Oh man, it's such a great movie. This I mean, it wasn't the first time I'd seen it, but I love that movie, and it has a lot of these like really, really close up, strange camera angles in it and stuff that are just like really tension building. And the Root Beer Guy episode kind of does that a little bit. But the thing that's great about it, like by the end, Root Beer Guy is the captain of the Banana Guard. So yeah, he will show up over and over again. It probably shouldn't have been a skip episode, but there's like zero occult things. Oh yeah,
and it's somewhat skippable because like although Root Beer Guy shows up, every episode isn't one on topic for us, other than the one time he gets brought back to life. But that's
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk to. Okay, actually, that's interesting. Let's go back to James for a second. I think that there is something that we need to talk about with the cloning of James. Mm-hmm. Like. It's not the same James because like, do candy people have souls? They must have something, right? If Root Beer Guy can get brought back to life, if Cherry Cream Soda can have all of those feelings of love and lust and whatever, like there's some sort of ensoulment to a candy person.
I mean, we've talked about this on the show before and in our private love life, when we're lying in bed together, stroking each other's back. I think...
now Agent Green's going to be really jealous now.
You mean Kim Kitsuragi? I would say that in the broad metaphysical sense, I think the candy people have the same right to ensoulment as humans do, and the same arguments whether or not souls are an existent part of the reality. But there's a slight more argument that they aren't ensouled because the clone Jameses are like the same person, as well as like the Banana Guards are all essentially the same Banana Guard.
Okay, that's a really good point. We know that there is some sort of continuing essence of people in U because there is an afterlife, and we see people
and
in
reincarnation
the
with Shoko
there's
at
reincarnation. Oh God, and I honestly don't remember if we ever see candy people in the afterlife.
Oh yeah, I don't either. That's a really good. We must, but I have no evidence to back that up.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's something to pay attention to. Maybe
Okay,
it's
yeah.
time to go watch.
Let's keep that.
some
Let's
of
keep
those
that
episodes.
algorithm going.
Yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah. So anyhow, root beer guy, that was a good one. So then the other skip.
Oh wait. Stay on root beer guy. Like two things. One,
Okay.
inexplicable Glenn Ross reference where like they're outside talking about
I
you gotta
know,
get the
isn't that
leads,
great?
which is so
Yeah.
fucking weird. But all right, so when they're in root beer guy's room the first time, when he's like, his wife is like, "Oh my god, would you please fucking fuck me?" There's a poster on one wall, and I didn't get the back up because the HBO app on Roku is like, if you could turn cancer into an app, it would be that. It's it's fucking awful, and I couldn't reverse for just 10 seconds. It just started spasming.
Yeah.
But there was a poster that was funny, and was there a BMO on his shelf or some kind of BMO-esque computer? Did you pick up on that?
Oh shit! I did not pick up on that.
Okay, all right, yeah.
That would be cool to go look and see. Yeah. So actually,
Oh wait, sorry. Also,
salesmanship-
sorry.
Glengarry Glen.
Wells reference. I didn't notice it. Rupert Guy's he's got a poster for Fudge of Evil.
Oh,
Isn't that Orson Welles? That's Touch of Evil.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So anyhow, I guess I probably should have pushed for that one just because I enjoy talking to you about film stuff, and I know you got like a degree or something. That
I got a
talks
degree in
about
poetry. I just wasted a lot of credits taking film courses because they were fun.
it. All right. So I guess that must mean it must be time for a segment.
Let's do a segment.
Okay, let's do a segment. Would you like to ask me a question?
I would. Eric,
Okay.
would you like to hear the shiny rocks I found? Because this is my segment, and stop fucking riding my coattails, you little bitch.
Oh God. Okay, fine. I'm not going to call my segment "Shiny Rocks." I'm not going to call it that at all.
Literally, I want to hear your segment, but I have like two throwaway ones that there's no discussion around. So
All right.
like,
Let's
literally,
do
I
this-
just want to get this segment is Alex gets his shit out of the way quickly, so Eric can do a good segment. Do you know what?
Let's do your second word first.
Okay. Do you know what virescent means?
Virescent. I'm going to guess it has something to do with being green and shiny.
Exactly.
Like-
Beginning to be green or developing or displaying virescence. It just means green. I just thought it was a cool way to word that.
That's
Good
a
word.
cool
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
Huh.
This is like
Virescence.
deep level of shiny rock. It's like, ooh, that's a nice word. Yeah. The other one I
Yeah.
found, and this was, I believe it was from Disco Elysium, and I wrote it down. Do you know what a souffleur is? SOUFFLEUR. Souffleur.
I'm going to guess.
Oh, please do.
I think a souffleur is a assistant chef who is an expert in making souffles.
Very similar joke was made when this word was discovered. Unfortunately not, but you did get the French root because it is from like suffocation. It is to push air. So it is one of the direct meanings from the theater. It's somebody who prompts or whispers to an actor their lines or cues when they forget their lines.
A souffleur.
But the technical term is a glass blower or someone who uses air to shape glass. But I think the same thing as souffle is something that's so infused with air that if you like clap
that's
too near
got
it, it collapses. So I think that souffle is the same as suffocation and et cetera. Suffocation
wait,
is
hold
the
on.
word I'm
So
thinking
let's-
of.
Go back for a second. So a souffleur is both a prompter in the theater and a person who blows glass?
So in theater, it's the prompter, and then the technical term. In the definition, it basically says it has multiple meanings. Just like the first definition. Apparently, it's just one of those words. But
Cool.
yeah, but I think it just comes to like bloviation. It's throwing of air out.
Okay, that's cool.
So now that we've got rid of my two words very quickly, Eric, I hear that you have some shiny rocks for us.
Yeah, but I'm not going to call it the Shiny Rock segment. I'm going to call this segment
Virescent boulders.
I'm going to call it oh shit, I don't know. But I'm going to be talking about language a little bit. Other
Okay,
languages.
I've heard of it.
So a couple of years ago I was taking a Chinook Wawa class. Chinook Wawa is the Chinook jargon language that was spoken in the Pacific Northwest and kind of in a broader area as well. But it was basically like a trade language that that had like loan words from like 50 or 60 different languages. Some of them Native American, French, English, like all these different languages got mixed together. And it still exists. It is the official language of the Chinook tribe and of the Grand Ronde tribe. The Chinook tribe is in Washington, Grand Ronde is in Oregon. And a lot of place names in Washington and Oregon have Chinook Wawa or Chinook jargon words in them. And I just wanted to bring some of them up because they're definitely names that people who live around here have seen before, and they might not know what they mean.
That sounds delightful. Please bring those up.
Okay. The first one I'm going to bring up is a name that you see in places, but also it's a word that has kind of I don't really hear it very often in anymore, but apparently for a long time it was kind of in the Northwest lexicon for English speakers. Skookum. Have you heard that word before?
I've heard the word skookum.
Do you remember what it means?
No, I don't. I think in my head it evokes bullshit.
No. It means strong or brave.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, kind of the opposite of that.
Yeah, love it.
Another thing that you'll see around Oregon and Washington is places named Boston. And frequently it's not actually referring to the city of Boston, but to the word Boston in Chinook Wawa, which means American or United Statesian.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
They just adopted the word Boston to mean American, and then English was King George.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah.
And so that those words are still used there. Another one that's really interesting is chum. And it's difficult to know. Sometimes this is a Chinook.
Oh no, I know
word
this
that
one.
Comes from. Yeah.
I know it's cannibalistic humanoid underground mellers.
It means it can mean painted or marked, but it can also be a reference to chum salmon. And it kind of depends on where you are.
Yeah.
Like if there's something that's talking about like chum trees or something like
Yeah.
that, then it's talking about. So this was one that I was really surprised by because I had never heard this before. Down near Roseburg, this is a place I used to go camping all the time when I was a kid. There's a place called Lamolo Lake, and Lamolo is a Chinook jargon word that means wild and untamed.
Lamolo. Yeah, that sounds right.
Lamolo.
Yeah, that fits. That the mouthfeel of that kind of works for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Okay. And let's see. Here's one that you probably know because it's Tillicum.
Yes.
Okay. You know what that means?
Yeah, it's like in kink where you keep edging and then eventually.
Okay. We have a bridge in Portland called Tillicum Crossing.
Yes, I made a lot of jokes about it when it opened. I know. Tillicum is like, I don't know. It's river or fish or beaver or something.
No, it means people.
People are beavers.
All right. I've got two more. One of them is Tumwata, which is a name that you'll see a lot in Washington in particular.
I definitely recognize it from signs, but I have no fucking idea what that means.
Yeah. It means waterfall.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair.
And then the other one, which is something that I think people see a lot, is Tyee. Tyee.
Yeah, no idea.
And it means chief.
Oh, cool.
Or
okay.
boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one bonus one because I've been to this lake in Deschutes County called Cultus Lake, and cultus is a word that means bad or worthless.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well
so
done.
there, that's a handful. You can look up Chinook jargon place names online and get like a huge list. Like there's tons and tons and tons of them, but a lot of them are little tiny places out of the way. And there are some other big ones that I didn't mention that I'll leave for the listener to go look up. It's a fun language.
My British boyfriend that we've talked about on the show before, Rob Words, did a thing of like the origin of 50 U.S. state names, obviously because there's 50 of them. But like there was two that were no explanation. I think it was Oregon and I forget the other one, where they're just like, we kind of think it might mean, but I don't fucking know. And
but nobody knows.
Yeah, which is really quite fun because we live in I don't fucking know state.
We do. Yeah, nobody knows where Oregon came from.
Yeah, and one of the other, I forget it was Idaho or one of them, is like literally, it might be just some guy just said words. Like he said something that's like, that probably sounds like an Indian word. I don't know, Idaho.
Let's use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so those were your shiny rocks and my language segment. That
Your
needs explanation.
skookum rocks.
Yeah, skookum rocks. I like it. All right, so I do want to talk a little bit about episode 44, Apple Wedding. It was on our skip list. You know, I think both of us get really annoyed by tree trunks, so it's totally
not a
cool.
fan.
It had a lot of tree trunks and a lot of LSP, so it was sort of doubly annoying. But PB looked hot this episode.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
sure
she had
watch
like a
it.
cool dress on and stuff. Like totally, I could see. I was able to see what Finn was interested in this episode. So Tree Trunks marries Mr. Pig, and she actually has this great line where she says to Princess Bubblegum, like, "Sorry, Princess, you can't marry me. I don't recognize your authority in this area.
Hell
I can
yeah.
only be married by His Holiness, the one true King of Ooh."
Hell yeah.
And Princess Bubblegum, of course, just goes ballistic over it. But this is the first appearance of the King of Ooh, who is a delightful villain. Is he enough of a villain to be a villain? He's so
We
ineffectual most
can
of the
call him
time.
an antagonist.
An antagonist.
Yeah.
He's a delightful antagonist who will show up a few more times. And he's actually a little more full of himself and like cult leadery in this episode. He refers to something. There's actually a scene where he's sitting with some of the children, and he says something about, like, you know, describe the next thought form. And he also declares that certain things happen under his life-giving sun, and he refers to the sun as his.
Yeah.
Under my life-giving sun. So he's a little more campy and over the top. I really enjoyed him in this episode. And then when he leaves at the end, when he's running away, he yells kingofoo.com. And we had a discussion about this before the episode started, because there did used to be a website or something there, but now it's nothing.
So I would like to take a moment to talk about the voice actor, Mr. Andy
Okay.
Daly. Andy Daly I found through Comedy Bang Bang, one of the greatest podcasts that's ever happened. Andy Daly played a series of characters. It became ridiculous. Go back in the catalog, listen. Send me a message on Blue Sky. I'll tell you how to find this series to make it hilarious. I got you, but it's not worth going into the show. The point is, one of his characters is, I'm Dalton Wilcox, the cowboy laureate of the West. And he just starts doing these cowboy poetry. And his cowboy poetry is based around, well, then you dig a hole in the dirt, you put your dick in it, and you make love to that land Virginia. And just fucking the dirt. That's the cowboy life. It's this throwaway, stupid, fucking silly thing.
But it
But it
stuck
was
with
fun, so he started doing Bonanzas for Bonanza, which is they go through and do every single episode of Bonanza as him and his character Dalton Wilcox. Matt Gorley, who you might know from the Conan O'Brien Needs a Best Friend or with Gorley and Ruster and various other things. He also does a wonderful H.R. Giger impression, is his co-host, also doing a bad Western accent. And they talk about Bonanza. And by talking about Bonanza, they both don't like the show, obviously. So they just hate each other. It's kind of like me talking about Adventure Time on episodes with True Trunks. We're just like, oh, in this episode, this happens. Anyway, and just asides. I say this because Andy Daly is this, he's a genius improviser, and like, what a beautiful mind. And I think more people should know who he is. So I'd like to talk to the 5 of you out there that are listening. Please look at Andy Daly.
You know, I always wonder with improvisers, people who seem to like really hit their comedy stride when they're sort of like improving stuff. How do they deal with voiceover in animation? Like,
Yeah.
does he do his lines and then they draw the animation to match his lines, or yeah, I honestly don't know how that works. I would love to know how that works. But,
I mean,
don't.
my guess would be with Adventure Time, because the animation isn't particularly deep, especially with like the lip flap sync, that he could just improv and they could just make the lip flap kind of work to it. It's not, it's not like they have like, they're not doing jaw motion. It's not like some expensive thing. Literally, they just have a cut and paste, from Photoshop and like throw the mouth moving.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, slightly more expensive. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's like a $50,000 cut and paste, but like the point is, I don't think it's, I don't think there's some impossibility. You're not doing the Grand Moff Tarkin where you have to like remap everything. And anyway, that's the episode of the show we're talking about.
that was episode 44, Apple Wedding. Let's get into the blade of grass.
I know we do have something to talk about Apple Wedding. Sorry, I didn't mean to like throw away. It's just
That's it.
I like Andy Daly a lot.
I said everything that I had to say. there were some great BMO moments in that episode, but
Oh, really? Oh, I should have watched
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Big fan of BMO.
Well, you can always go back. So Blade of Grass, episode 45, Blade of Grass. This is a really, really significant episode. It has
Exactly.
It has some interesting development. It has like the seeds, the grass seeds of things that will reverberate through the entire rest of the series, all the way to the end, all the way to the last episode. Like that grass sword is important.
Yes.
Okay.
No, you go. You.
So when the episode opens, Finn and Jake are fighting off a bunch of like, I don't even know what those guys were, but they were like a bunch of muscly vampire looking guys.
I said they were fighting off a bunch of me from high school because there's a bunch of goth looking guys with long hair.
Yeah. Yeah. With tons of muscles and stuff.
Well, you know, like a boy can dream.
But it's obvious that Finn needs a new sword, and so they go to that weird marketplace. The thing that is so upsetting about that marketplace, like it feels like every time Finn and Jake go to the marketplace, a gang of bandits attacks it.
Yeah, it's a bad part of town. They really have to stop rolling up there. Yeah.
Yeah, and this time it is. Well, it happens a little bit later. So they go to the weird marketplace. Choose Goose is there, but instead they go to the creepy grass guy and the creepy grass hut who gives Finn the grass sword.
Yes.
And the grass sword turns out is cursed.
Yeah. It's an interesting kind of curse, though, because it's cursed in the most, like, you just accept it and it's fine way.
Sort of.
We find that
the
out
curse
later.
Is
Yeah.
insidious, and there is something much, much darker about the curse. Is this the first appearance of Grass Wizard, or we've
I believe
seen
so,
him
yeah.
in?
No, I
Okay.
think it's our first grass wither.
Okay, yeah, because he does show up in more stuff later on. I think.
Oh, actually, in adventuretime.fandom.com, grass wither in parentheses debut.
Okay, cool. So this is Grass Wizard's first appearance. The Wizard of Grassy Mountain. So anyhow, the bad guys who show up are the hooligans who love candles, and they are basically like a bunch of greasers who are stealing candles from old ladies, and Finn beats them all up with the grass sword. Doesn't kill any of them, but he like cuts off all their cool hairdos.
Yeah, he takes all the delicious teddy boy hair off.
Chops some candles into pieces. Yeah, the grass sword is definitely magic. I mean, high tech. It's magic.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to the argument, you know. Let's resurrect Carl Sagan using magic / technology and ask what he has to say about it.
Yeah, and the curse on the grass sword, you know, the fact that like Finn can't throw it away and stuff, it is very reminiscent of old school cursed D&D items.
Yeah, I was thinking
Where-
that this episode does
Yeah.
like harken back in the best way to that season 1. This is just a D&D show kind of style.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that about it. There's and I mean, I don't know. I mean, who knows? I don't even know where that idea of cursed objects, like things you can't get rid of, like is that a thing in like old legends and stuff? It must be.
Yeah, I feel like it is, but like I can't think of one other than like, you know, 1800s and on. But I feel like it's got to be like some Roman ass shit, right?
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, that's something to look up, or maybe have one of our audience members yell at us in Blue Sky, like, "How did you guys not know this?" Because you know there are like 15 things that we don't know.
I
Where do
mean,
we
for
put
me,
our
it's 15
minds?
things like just about every sentence. But yeah, fair cop.
But and then when they're going up to see the Grass Wizard at his grass house on Grassy Mountain, one of the monsters that attacks them looks like a giant tardigrade.
Yes,
Did you
and
see that?
it's fun on the Adventure Time wiki refers to tardigrade or moss piglet.
Moss piglet.
I don't know why I've never heard moss piglet in reference to tardigrade, but I think it's
I've
delightful.
heard that one.
Yeah.
I usually call them water bears or tardigrades, but yeah, I think moss piglet
Yeah.
is another one of their names. But yeah, so anyhow, they destroy it, of course, which, you know, it's sad.
Yeah.
Killing a tardigrade.
You know what they say about going uphill for a grass blade? Some
Yeah.
motherfuckers just want to ice skate uphill.
I totally didn't get that.
It's a reference to the movie Blade, which was later referenced in Deadpool versus Wolverine, which it didn't make a lot of sense in this context. But like, I don't have much to talk about these episodes, so I'm just trying to say words so it feels like I was part of this episode.
So what do you think about Tree Trunks being able to tell that the sword is cursed by how it chops an apple?
I think it works within character only because it's like apple-based knowledge, and a lot of their character is apple-based.
Do you think that the writers of the show knew how important the grass blade was going to be and knew how cursed it was when they wrote this? Like, did they have a plan for that, or is that something that must have developed naturally over the course of the show?
I would say the how deep into the show we are, and like I think we're at that, like, we are like in the fulcrum, almost to the point of the fulcrum falling of the show moving towards like actual storytelling. I'm not saying they knew what the grass blade was, but I think this is because it's also replacing the sword of their father, which is like, mythology and just real life wise, that's an important thing. I feel like they must at least have the idea that this is going to be important. Where it was going, no fucking idea. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But I think writing it in as this is how we replace Joshua's sword is, I think, obviously they knew that there was going to be they knew there was going to be episodes based on it. Who knows what they thought those episodes were going to be, but I think like they had penciled in, a grass sword.
I think one of the things that I'm theorizing this, I don't actually remember, but I believe that we're going to see more sword stuff also. Because I mean, like Finn always has a sword, but he doesn't always use a sword every episode.
Yeah.
But now this sword is like part of his arm.
Yeah, and not to give stuff away, but that leads to him getting other swords.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm looking forward to the tale of the grass blade unfolding, because he does. It leads to the Finn sword. It leads to Fern. It leads to it's huge in the next Lich story. Like I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and it leads to all the PB making like weird robot arms, which goes back to like Farm World Finn with the robot arm, even though it's like a rudimentary.
Shoko.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of like overlapping I was gonna say overlapping magisteria. I don't think that works in here, but I want to say it because it sounds smart.
Yeah. So sort of like the Finn's destiny, or Finn's or certain shapes of Finn's. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that part of it. But yeah, I guess I don't really have a whole lot to say about it other than that either. But I will say that Jeff Bennett voices both Choose Goose and the Grass Wizard, and Jeff Bennett is famous for voicing Johnny Bravo.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I'm into it. Oh, I got to pay attention to that next time, because I loved a Johnny Bravo when I was young.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see Grass Wizard again. I don't know if he has words or lines in any of the future stuff, but
I hope they do the monkey with us. Hey, famous Johnny Bravo.
Yeah. So that's all I really have about that episode. I guess I think that in terms of occult stuff, we are sort of getting into this sort of question of fate and free will and things when it comes to cursed swords and the grass sword and the role the grass sword is going to play in future things. We need to know about the grass sword because when they go to the interdimensional prison.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That is what.
I'm really looking forward to that episode. I love that episode so much.
I was talking about with friend Lillian about that, about how the grass sword shows up, and there's a lot of there's a lot of it of like these kind of like there's so much like Arthurian thing of like the sword like kind of leading to destiny. Here's a fun like trivia night thing to like fuck with people, like what is the name of the sword in the stone?
I don't think we know the name of the sword in the stone, do we?
No, exactly. But everybody's going to, like, not everybody, most people answer Excalibur because that's the famous one. But, like, no, Excalibur is like, the sword of sword, like, the sword of sword literally breaks, and Arthur's like, oh, fuck. Lady of the Lake, could you toss a scimitar? I need to run England. Okay, appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of magic swords. So, Roland's sword, Durandal.
Yeah.
It was stuck, or supposedly stuck, high up in a cliff wall.
Oh, I saw this. Yeah.
In Spain, and it was stolen.
Yeah. Here's a fun addendum to that. Apparently, that's not the first time this has happened, and there's a fair bit of evidence that like that may not even be the original one. They just kind of sneakily replaced it because it's fun for them to have it.
Let's make a new sword.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that too. That's fun. I saw that popped up on my Reddit feed.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining WizBiz with Alex and Eric for all the latest in sword news.
Yes. It's the most sword-based podcast you're ever going to find, except for Swords Monthly with Sword and Swordy.
Yeah.
I have nothing left to say about this episode.
All right, cool. Well, should we wrap up then?
We should. I would like you to give them the call to action.
My call to action is to follow us on Blue Sky. I know Blue Sky has gotten a lot of new people lately, and you should come and see us over there. Sometimes we are hilarious. We have WizBiz podcast, and we also, Alex is there as, what is your Blue Sky
I'm
name?
Alex Bolin. AlexXBollen.
Yes. So follow one of us or both of us, and we'll follow you back.
Hell yeah.
Unless you're really a truly terrible person, then we might not follow you back.
Or even
but-
lightly terrible. I'm pretty heavy with the banhammer. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. But follow us, see what
Yeah.
happens.
But then I can.
All right.
Go fuck yourself. We'll see you in a fortnight.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
What is this?
Film before a live studio audience. Norm!
Mute.